What is up, RotoGrinders? It's 2 hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation starting right now, taking you up the first pitch of this Thursday afternoon. 8 games slate. The Dodgers are still in course. The Dodgers are still coming with a massive team total, closing in on 8, which is a big boy total for sure. No lineup just yet. Taking on Austin. Gomber, 7.73 is the precise team total currently, according to our lineups page. Not a lot else as far as massive numbers. There are some 5s. There's some good weather. There's some shaky weather. I'll go ahead and drop Kevin Roth, chief meteorologist, his weather report. Right now, looks pretty dicey in Minnesota. It's a straight orange. Let me refresh. I might have actually changed my update. Of course, I'll be on in about an hour or so and give you an even better update. But yeah, as we've last seen here, it's orange, straight orange in Minnesota. He does not appear very optimistic if you read this at your own leisure. Yellow-green in Cleveland, straight yellow in Detroit. It's hot and it's humid with winds blowing out in Kansas City and St. Louis as well. It's myself and TJ. TJ's Words. You guys know TJ. One of the greatest DFS players in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. It's very, very early for TJ. 9 o'clock on, I was going to say the West Coast. You're not fully out west. But, yeah, good morning, TJ. It is a Fleet Thursday. I know you're excited. I know the chat's excited. Chat's hitting that like button. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, are you ready for this? I think you said yesterday, maybe I'm mistaken, if Pete Crow Armstrong does not hit a homer, you're going to get...
Remember.
I thought I heard this. Spidey Bombs every 25 likes. So keep smashing that like button. We're going to get all the Spidey Bombs today. Good morning, TJ.
Yep,
how are things in the world?
Doing well. Yeah, back is slowly starting to get better. Still not 100% yet, but way, way better than it had been the past few days. Unfortunately, the Pete Crow Armstrong thing cost me in more ways than one because what I meant to do was bet Pete Crow Armstrong. Like, so I meant to bet 8 players to hit home runs or, their total base prop yesterday, depending on which looked better. Took Pete Crow Armstrong to hit a home run. And then I meant to take Kyle Tucker total bases because they were the same as his home run odds. And I had Nick Kurtz that hit. I had Joe Adele that hit from earlier in the day. I had Max Muncy that hit. And so I made money last night, even with Pete Crow Armstrong not hitting. But I meant to have Kyle Tucker on the list, and I accidentally did Pete Crow Armstrong home run and Pete Crow Armstrong total bases. So just doubled down on him with all the other parlays. So I doubled down on not hitting. So I still made a couple $100, but it was almost a big day with home run bets if I would have properly had Tucker in there.
Well, you know what? You can get it all back today and get even more. You're supposed to not complain when you win money, but I do the same thing. And especially when it comes down to someone has goofy little error or something you did incorrectly. That's the rules. I'm told you're not allowed to complain about anything when you actually have a profitable day. But yesterday wasn't profitable for me, so I can complain. I guess I can. But you know what? We care about today and today only. We forgot about yesterday. It's a brand new day. Hunter Brown, best pitcher by far, not even a conversation. Taking the bump. The only issue there is salary, especially on DK. His asking price is significantly more than everybody else. But again, he's very, very clearly the best pitcher from a skills perspective. 31.6% as far as the K is. Next guy up is Christopher Sanchez at 25.3. So he's the only guy that really has an elite K rate. 2.96 Sierra, really good as well. I was going to say lowest Sierra, but it's a small sample. Jansen Junk actually has the lowest Sierra on the slate. And he's in a good ballpark in San Francisco. So, if you're looking for a nonsense SP2, and I think you might be on this slate, I guess you throw him in the bucket. We'll have that conversation in a second. Did we officially say hello to chat? What's up, chat? Hit that like button and do subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. Some people don't even know we're live right now. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Why are we live? Well, it's an early slate taking us up to lock. I see Tim hanging out in chat. Tim will be on later, giving some analysis as well as Derek Carty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz, about an hour or so. And again, Roth will be joining. And I assume Roth will give us an update as far as what's going on in Minnesota. But he wrote a big old blurb about it. Doesn't feel terribly optimistic. It's not red, so it's not the worst, not like complete stay away. But orange is kind of a scary color. As of right now, I didn't do a ton of analysis in that game. I gave an overview, but if necessary, certainly there are some spots because I'm fine picking on Hancock and Woods Richardson, and Big Dubber Kyle Rowley's there too, so he can always break a slate. Obviously, you got to pay for him. But, overview, TJ, what is your screenshot? Very, very clearly the Dodgers are the best team. I think we have the lineup just yet. I think Freddie Freeman sits today. Day game after the night game. He's been kind of scuffling. He's dealing with some injuries, facing a lefty. I think we see we see Freddie sit. And Will Smith almost definitely plays because he didn't play yesterday. We do like the catcher day game after the night game, so I assume he's catching. But just a little speculation. Just my guess that Freeman doesn't play. But your thoughts? How have you seen this slate?
I did get a late start on the day today, admittedly, just because I had to wait for my parents to get here to look after the baby. We were hanging out with her right before, like seconds before the show started. But so far, my initial lean, and so essentially what I'm saying is I reserve the right to change my mind as the show goes on. But as it stands right now, I plan to go with a very similar strategy that has gone well for me the past 2 nights, and that is to be severely underweight on the Dodgers. Yesterday, the only Dodger I played was Max Muncy and Dalton Rushing. The day before, I think I played Muncy and one other. Today is going to be a lot more of the same. They are just so extremely high priced for the most part that I don't think I need to get there all that often. Now, that full stack is going to be easier to get to today, but it's also going to have more pinch hit risk. And so I'm going to be underweight on this team as a whole. I'm going to prioritize Hunter Brown over the Dodgers today in Coors Field as like where I want to be spending my salary. I am playing 150 lineup, so I don't think, like the past couple days, I'm going to fully fade the Dodgers stacks like I have. I might get a couple full Dodger stacks just because it is possible to do it pretty cheaply. And the guys that I like the best aren't actually going like all that crazily high owned today. Like Andy Pages, Teoscar Hernandez, like Hernandez is, but Pages, Hernandez, Edman, I think are probably where I want to go to most. And Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani, and even Will Smith are where I'm looking to fade at their prices. So I'm going to be underweight on the Dodgers. I'm going to be well overweight on Hunter Brown. And then in terms of which stacks I'm going to be, heavily going with to like pivot off of that Dodgers team today, we'll see. And we'll get through some of them. I'm kind of feeling like early lean. I maybe don't mind some teams like the Rays and the Cubs and a couple of these others that we'll get to. But as it stands right now, I feel like I'll spread out my stacks. I'll spread out my SP2s, but I'll be very light on the Dodgers and I'll be very heavy on Hunter Brown.
No Sal Perez today for Kansas City. Cross him off the list. You mentioned Tampa. No Tampa lineup just yet. They've been the hottest team in baseball for, I don't know, want to say a month or so, maybe even longer. They've been fantastic. Of course, the ballpark here is a big downgrade in Kansas City. Kauffman Stadium, not the most hitter friendly. However, it's hot, it's humid, winds are blowing out to left center, 11 miles per hour. So you're getting a bit of a bump, and they have a team total a little bit ahead of 5. And Michael Lorenzen's not somebody we're afraid of, kind of a neutral pitcher. So I like the Rays a good bit as a pivot. The Cubs, we'll dig into this stuff, but like I don't like to pick on Andre Palante as a general thought because he's got literally the 99th percentile as far as ground ball rate. His ground balls are just fantastic. However, the best way to counter that is with fly ball hitters, and there's a lot of fly ball hitters the Chicago side. PCA and I think Tucker. I think Bush is another one. They're all in the plate IQ. I was kind of digging into him earlier today. So, and also like when he lets the ball in the air, he's been giving up. He's pretty vulnerable to homers. His homer to fly ball is like 22% or something like that. And great weather. I kind of buried that as well. Another ballpark that's pretty neutral at best for hitters, but it's going to be in the high 90s in St. Louis with the wind blowing out as well. Anything else we want to say before we fully dive in and start talking about some pitchers? There's some names. It's pretty gross. Dietrich Enns, who I just learned of his existence last night. Not some young prospect. If you haven't seen this guy's name before, you hear the term journeyman. This dude is a journeyman. 34, 35, bounced around all over the place. Hasn't pitched the majors in a while. Was it KBO and Japan, I think. Not great numbers over there from a strikeout perspective. He's cheap, and I guess that's the best thing you could say about him. But, it's a great, it's a downgrade, of course, for the Athletics. And some of the power for the Athletics should be subdued here from the left side. But you mentioned Muncy, also not projected to be in the lineup today because the lefty starting there, Gomber. His grand slam was insane. I mean, just like absolute, no doubter. But did you see the 2 RBI single he had before that, before the rain delay? Did you happen to catch that by chance?
I caught it in my app as I was trying to see if he was going to get a home run, but I did not see the play.
It was a straight pop up to like the first baseman, second baseman, and it was raining. It was raining, and the umpires did not call it. They didn't delay the game. It was 0-0, and it was raining so much that both fielders lost the ball in the rain, and it was a 2 RBI single that bounced between the first baseman and the second baseman. It was just a completely ridiculous, It's one of those, you can't give anybody an error. It's nobody really made a mistake. It's just nobody. It wasn't like it bounced out of a glove. It just bounced between the two hitters, and they both kind of lost the ball in the rain. Then they immediately said, you know what? Let's put the tarp on. This is too much. I see Spidey Ball number 1 has just dropped. I like Addison Barger a good bit. He's one of my favorites. Cheap players on this slate, plus 450. I guess you could speak more to it as far as Barger, but this season versus righties, he's looks pretty good. And salary-wise, I need some salary savers, especially if I want to play some Hunter Brown and maybe get a taste of the Dodgers. Like you said, it's a the world of a salary cap, and I'm kind of making the same decision point with Hunter Brown. Even though it's not the greatest strikeout matchup in the world, I just feel like he's got a run prevention perspective. Philadelphia downgrade as far as their ballpark. There's still no Bryce Harper. He's kind of reverse splitsy as well for what it's worth. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber can annihilate baseballs versus anybody, but otherwise that lineup is not terribly imposing. Let's go ahead and open that up as far as today's pitchers. Do you want to drop the first clue? Oh, what do you got?
There it is, same page.
Oh, you wanted to drop the first clue for today's Fleet Thursday. The first clue, TJ, and you're going to scroll it right now, is square. Square is the first clue. All right, give me your thoughts as far as pitchers. You kind of opened it up and you said you're going to be prioritizing Hunter Brown. Easier to roster on FanDuel, I would say. Just makes more sense on FanDuel. It's a little tougher on DK, but again, I sort of gravitate toward the quote-unquote guaranteed points, and then they'll just figure it out from the bat's perspective. Add some more color to your thoughts as far as Hunter Brown and how much you're prioritizing him all around.
So I did, just because you brought up FanDuel, I did want to touch on something there quick. Yesterday for the early slate, I played on FanDuel for the first time in probably over a year, maybe 2. And it was because I wanted to play 2 second basemen. I wanted to play Christian Moore, who was batting second, and Ketel Marte, who was batting he's just always he was in a great spot. He's always batting at the top, but he was in a great spot. And so I wanted to play them both. And so I deposited on FanDuel. I play a lineup, throw it in a bunch of single entries. They combine for 5 strikeouts or 6 strikeouts and not a single hit between the 2 of them. Still tripled up.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so it was a surprisingly good day despite getting those 2 second basemen wrong. If they happen to have a big day, it would have been a really nice day for me. But yeah, I'm going to be prioritizing Hunter Brown in this spot. He is just by far the best pitcher, and since I'm going to be trying to fade the Dodgers at those prices, I have the salary to get up to him. 31.5% K rate on the season. K's more lefties than he does righties, just by a little bit, keeping the hard contact down to both sides of the plate. And without Bryce Harper, that Philly lineup just doesn't look that scary. You got to get through Kyle Schwarber, and then everybody else is just fine. Sure, you might give up some hits. Maybe somebody gets a home run. They're probably not going to strike out a ton, but they're not going to do a whole lot more either. And so I really like Hunter Brown today. He is going to be my priority spend, not just in terms of pitching, but my priority spend in terms of anything today. And then I do think that I'm going to be spreading apart my SP2s. but I'll probably do some double barrel spend ups for Brown and Sanchez together. And like, we'll get to these guys, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we can play the game. 7 guys in my pool today.
Okay.
And just based on that, like, I might have pretty close to like 80 or 90% Brown today. Maybe not that much, but like over 50 for sure.
So Brown, and then just kind of shuffling through the nonsense, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Jeffrey Springs, but not at that ridiculous ownership. So it's just one of those things.
He's been serviceable.
Really good. He's been really good. He's underpriced. Like, I just don't know if I can. How good I feel about getting to a 40% Jeffrey Springs.
Is that what he's coming in at? 40%.
For large field stuff right now, we're projecting 36%. So single entry is probably going to be over 50.
We're a 19% K pitcher, and a guy that has a walk issue as well to some degree, 8.7%.
Against a team that currently has a team 252 ISO against lefties this year.
Yeah, as far as the lineup today. Yeah, that's I see it. I get it because he's pretty cheap and he's been all right, but some of those numbers, by the way, are kind of skewed. If you look at, Perez is a 630. Yeah. And Jones is a 500 ISO and a Perez a 632 ISO. Obviously, those are not sustainable.
That's also with those zeros from Meadows and Rogers.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I guess it kind of balances out. I do like Torkelson a good bit, and Torres has been very good against lefties as well. We talk about hitters. I think you can play it both ways, actually. I know I don't know if I'm taking a stand on it, but I'm okay playing some Detroit. I'm okay playing some Springs just to kind of, save us some salary here.
Yeah,
are we playing the game?
If I do end up getting close to like 40, 50% Springs, then there's a very good chance that I would just like try and make Detroit my highest owned stack too.
So Mr. Gerg is asking in chat, can you pair Springs and Dietrich Ends and then release the Hounds? I guess you can. I guess. I wouldn't expect a lot out of these guys as a ceiling, but they could both survive, right? Is that something we're willing to do?
Maybe. Not so much. I am low on the Dodgers, so that's why I'm not really doing it because the Hounds would mean the Dodgers. But there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with doing that whatsoever. I don't think it's basically you're just hoping Hunter Brown doesn't score 30, and if he doesn't, you're fine. Probably. Like if those guys get you each, even if Springs doesn't go off and they each get you 12 to 15 and the Dodgers stack goes off, sure. Like that's no problem. So you're really just hoping that Hunter Brown fails. Somebody in YouTube chat, where are we here? We Major was asking what starting pitchers we like on FanDuel. I would play 100% Hunter Brown. Whether I was playing 1 lineup, 3 lineups, 20 lineups, 150 lineups, I would play 100% Hunter Brown.
Yeah. He's my favorite pitcher over there. 10.2K is not enough difference. And also just kind of like building stuff, it's easier to make lineups work. If you're looking for pivots, it's probably Sanchez or Birdsong for me. Probably.
I like Sanchez for $2,000 less than Hunter Brown on DraftKings, but not for a few $100s less on FanDuel.
Yeah, but you're gonna get an ownership rate. But I agree. I obviously agree with you. I mean, he's going to be without the platoon for most of the hitters he's facing. His Ks in the season are pretty neutral: 26% versus lefties, 25% versus righties, and we're going to get an entirely right-handed lineup for Houston. That's what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, and they've shown some power versus lefties this year too, and they haven't faced a lot, but in a small sample, they've shown some power collectively with 244 ISO as far as today's lineup. 371 WOBA. Not a ton of Ks. I guess Cam Smith and Walker are in there. Altuve struck out a good bit too. Are we playing the game? Are you locked in on 7, or is it kind of like a? It's still
Let's play the game, and I am temporarily at least locked in, for which I realize isn't locked in if it's temporarily, but at least temporarily locked in to 8 now. And there is one of them that I genuinely don't think you would ever guess.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, so that means it's Jansen Junk?
It's Jansen junk.
Yeah. He's been like okay.
Jansen junk.
And the ballpark's great, and he's cheap. And what is the opportunity cost of an SP2 today? Which is kind of an overarching theme. He could survive, right? We're not afraid of Sam. I know they added Devers, but we're not necessarily afraid. In a small sample, junk this year, this is 27 innings, right? Grain of salt. But 1.8% walks, which is immaculate, 23% Ks, and it's backed up by a swinging strike rate of 11.8%. Now, if we're going to compare that to everybody else in the slate, what does that mean? It is the fourth highest, tied for the fourth highest as far as swinging strikes. Now, his name is also Jansen Junk, which you can take that photo. Not the name you want from your pitcher, I don't think. I think he's usable. I'm not going to yell at you. And if you want to pivot away from a similar price point, you want to pivot away from Springs, I'm okay with it. I prefer him more than Ends. Admittedly, I don't know what we're getting from him. I'm not going to pretend. He's a 35-year-old journeyman. He's bounced around all over the place. Hasn't played a ton in the majors. Hasn't shown a lot of K rate of late. But, yeah. All right. So, in the pool, as of right now, you have 8, you said? Is that where we're at? Let's go ahead and play it.
And I believe we know Junk, 4 of them already.
Well, Junk, Brown, Sanchez, Birdsong.
Birdsong is there.
Okay.
But I'm debating getting rid of him because he's also projecting for high ownership.
I don't. Well, what do you expect from Imanaga today? We're given 86 pitches, which seems pretty full as far. We haven't seen him in a while, obviously. Is Imanaga somebody you're considering?
He is not. I'm going to do the wait and see approach there.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at too. Doesn't seem terribly necessary. I'm kind of working backwards now. I don't think you're going to have Lorenzen in there. I'm going to say Lorenzen not in the pool.
Nope.
Kind of working backwards. Austin Gomber not in the pool. Clayton Kershaw.
Barger's home run odds just went up to 475 on my site, and I have not gone. I haven't actually clicked anything in yet, so that just got better.
Alex is asking, is Gausman someone we can get serious about? I mean, you could play him. I don't know if I'd say he's somebody we can get serious about. He is a Blue Jay. I don't know if that factors in or not for TJ.
The thing there with Gausman is I almost treat Gausman a little bit like Robbie Ray, which is scaring me today because of his high ownership. He's currently projected for the second highest owned starting pitcher on DraftKings. Hunter Brown 4th, which is kind of wild. But I guess that's because everybody wants to play the Dodgers. Gausman isn't trustworthy, but the problem is you have no idea when it's going to happen and when it's not. Like, if that splitter is working like he wants it to work and he's able to locate his low fastball, he's usually really, really good. And I hate the idea of ever full fading him because he could have 12 Ks and go 8 innings today. Maybe as the highest pitch count on the slate, if not him, beat him and Hunter Brown.
Yeah, Hunter Brown's like 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
The
upside's sky high for Gausman. But the downside is too, because sometimes he's just genuinely really bad. He's not able to locate that low fastball. He's had 3 weak games in a row, but like if you look right before that, it was 2 30-plus point games. And so he is really good. At times, you just never really know which Gausman you're going to get. And so raw points, I think he's like raw point ceiling. He's the second highest. He's the second best pitcher on the slate. At the ownership, I am terrified of both Gausman and Springs.
I wish he was facing more righties. Gausman, I'm counting 7 lefties. Arias and Thomas, which are great opponents because Gausman in the season, 26% against righties as far as Ks, 139 ISO, 306 WOBA. Very good against righties. And both those guys are bad, and they strike out a lot versus righties. So you love seeing Thomas and Arias in there. But first lefties, the Ks dipped down to 22.3%. The ISO to 200, so he's more vulnerable there.
I that's one part that I think is a little bit of small sample size stuff, and he probably just untouched up from some really good hitters, because if you look at his hard hit rate, he's giving up a 61% hard hit rate to righties this year and a 33% to lefties.
Yeah, but throughout his career, though, he's been a kind of a splits guy, so he's been better versus righties. That is interesting.
He's always got hit harder than righties because his splitter is his out pitch, and it works way better against lefties.
Yeah, am I thinking of him? I might be thinking of somebody else. I think you are. He's kind of neutral reverse in his historically. Is that correct?
Yeah. Strikeouts fairly like neutral to regular splits, but like he has that good out pitch for the slider, but he hangs that slider a lot. And so he'll get touched up on it on occasion. So he'll strike out more, but he'll also give up more power.
So the anomaly is not it's the strikeouts versus lefties and righties this year, a little bit different. Okay.
Basically, the more righties, the higher his ceiling is, the lower his floor is.
Okay. That's fair. So is he one of the 7 or 8? He's in the pool, right? I think he's in the pool.
He is in the pool. Him in Springs. I'm not sure if I'm going to be over or underweight on. The chat wants clue number 2. They want it bad.
What about Clayton Kershaw, by the way? I'll throw clue number 2, and you get your thoughts as far as Clayton Kershaw. The second clue is stretch. Square and stretch. Oh, they know. I didn't tell them, but they know at this point, right? Get the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. That's where you tell me who today's athlete is. That's how you get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, WNBA. I think LOL is still a thing. All the bells, all the whistles, the optimizer, the articles, the rankings, Sims, anything you could think of to make your life easier. You can always pay for it as well, too. You can pay for it. I know baseball is the same price as everything, so we might as well just get all the sports. Commit to 6 months, you get 35% off. Link in the description. Let's check out the Discord as I get your thoughts as far as Clayton Kershaw, Lance, let's see, Butterbean, Jared Lorenzen, some fun names getting thrown out here in the chat. That is not Mike Tyson or Patrick Ewing or Muhammad Ali or Charles Barkley, but you never know. Somebody's going to land on it soon enough. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw, whatever's left of him in Coors. How are we feeling about Clayton today? He's getting discounted, I suppose, if anything else.
No Clayton Kershaw for me on this slate. Only 7K. I do totally get it, but against Colorado and Coors with, an 80-ish pitch count, I just don't see the need to do it.
Who have we not said that is in your pool? Have you missed a couple guys? Have I missed a couple guys?
2.
Birdsong, Junk, no Kershaw, no Gomber, no Managa, yes Brown, yes Sanchez. Is Dietrich Enns in your pool?
He is. He's cheap. He's in the pool. Only $6,500. I get that he's a journeyman and isn't like MLB good, but he's also had a really good season in the minors. And he's
facing children. He's like 15 years younger than him. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? The Athletics are children too. The Athletics are filled with dudes that are 25 and below. There are a bunch of children over there. I'm going to have a ton of Athletics. I think he's probably going to be bad. But on a slate that we don't like any of the SP2s, him and Junk are going to be 5% or less owned. Single digit for sure. And he's cheap. And so I'm just going to throw him in some lineups.
Chat's talking about Shane Baz. If there is a hiccup with Baz, well, it's besides him not being great, is that this Kansas City lineup, besides not being great, is really contact heavy. 16.8% as far as contact this year. Outside of Drew Waters, everybody else is in the green when it comes to striking out versus righties. Now, they're not great, but they're making contact. Everybody basically in the teens. I don't think I'm playing Baz. Are you playing Baz? I'm not playing Baz.
I'm not playing Baz either. Don't see any reason to get there today. 90 degrees with 10 plus mile an hour winds blowing out in Kansas City. He's been trash. He's reverse splitsy, and there's only 4 lefties in that lineup. So no need for me to get to Baz today.
All right. Is there still one more that I'm missing? Did I just not count correctly? Are you playing Palante? You're not playing Palante, right?
I'm not. I don't think you had mentioned Tanner Bybee.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I did either. But sure, yeah. I guess that's the obvious one I didn't acknowledge. Talk to me about.
Don't like him. Not getting to much of him, but he's low owned, and so just in case, I'll throw a little bit in. Like, I'm so much more willing to play the ownership game on today's slate at pitcher, just because none of them are very good options. And so, yeah, Springs and Gausman probably the two best options outside of Brown. But do they warrant the ownership that they're getting? No, I don't think so. So that's why I'm going to just take shots on all of these low-owned guys in addition to Gausman and Springs.
All right. You want to give me the summary as far as arms? Anything else we want to acknowledge? Somebody just joined us late. They weren't here for the first half hour. What have they missed when it comes to pitchers?
Hunter Brown is my guy today. I'm going to be prioritizing spending up for Hunter Brown over spending up on the Dodgers if I only have to choose one of the two. I do still think it's possible to play Brown with some of the back half Dodgers, but I'm going to be prioritizing Brown over 50% of my lineups on DraftKings. If I were playing on FanDuel, whether it was one lineup, 3 lineups, 20 lineups, 150 lineups, I'm playing 100% Hunter Brown. Lock button every single lineup. He's cheap enough there. Plus, the pricing is loose enough that it's really easy to get him. So 100% Hunter Brown for me over there. Doubling, maybe tripling the field over on DraftKings for me. And then I'm just going to spread out my SP2s. Christopher Sanchez, Kevin Gausman, Tanner Bybee, Hayden Birdsong, Jansen Junk, Dietrich Enns, and Jeffrey Springs. Springs and Gausman from a projection standpoint, without a doubt, the two best guys outside of Hunter Brown. They're much more affordable. You can get the Dodgers, but they're going to be really highly owned too. And so I'm personally going to be even to underweight on both of them and overweight on Enns and Junk. Same with Birdsong, I'll definitely be underweight on, and I'll be overweight on Sanchez too. So I'm going to try and those three guys I'll get overweight on. Birdsong, Gausman, Springs, I will get underweight on. And then just play an absolute ton of Hunter Brown.
Still waiting for some more lineups to come in. No Cubs just yet. The games that are starting later, Marlins, San Fran, no lineups there. Probably or possibly one of lineups when the slate starts at 1-ish. 3:45 start for San Fran and Miami. And then the Dodgers and the Rockies starting at 3:10 on the East Coast. So we'll keep an eye on if we get lineups. If not, maybe crunch time we'll talk about it. Otherwise, you got to baby your lineups as we're in the middle of the slate. And again, my speculation, I think Freeman sits. Just a guess. And Will Smith for sure in because he didn't play last night. All right. Let's go ahead and throw some teams in some tiers, TJ. We have to get some Spidey Bombs as well. We're closing in on Spidey Bomb number 2, I imagine. It's popping up pretty soon. Every 25 likes, we're getting Spidey Bombs.
Yeah, we're only at 33, so we gotta step it way up here.
You got to do the pitch, TJ. I think we gotta summon you to the bullpen.
Yeah, I'm producing, I'm co-hosting, I'm building 150 lineups, I'm getting home run bets in. I built the tier board today. I can only be stretched so thin.
We gotta make you work. We gotta get all the value we can get out of you, I suppose. You're spinning all the plates there. You're like Red Panda. I don't know if you're familiar with Red Panda.
Very familiar. Yeah.
Yes. She's the 1-1, right?
Only player in NBA history with better longevity than LeBron.
Somebody stole her bike. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe somebody stole Red Panda's bike. It was outrageous. But I believe it was the Golden State Warriors who stepped up and said, we're going to buy you a brand new bike. But if you know Red Panda, you know. But she's the 1-1 of halftime performances for the NBA. Okay. 16 teams, 8 games. We're going to throw some teams and some tiers. You did say, TJ, you said you made today's tiers board. So tell the people the thought process. What is today's category?
Yeah, so thought process was today, my wife, who is a teacher, it is her last day of school. It's her last day of work for the summer before summer holidays hit here in, maybe not everywhere in Canada, but at least where I live. We end a lot later than you, but we start later too. So end of June is where schools end. And then September is when schools start back up. And then I think there's a couple more holidays in the middle too. But I wanted to rank last days. What's the best last day? What's the worst last day? So let us know in chat. Kind of, I think tier 1 is obvious. I'll let everyone know right away before we reveal it. But inspired by the last day of school, I think that is the best last day. You know, whether you're a teacher, a university, college student, a high school student, elementary student, you always love the last day of school. Maybe not as a parent, you know, maybe not as a parent who is going to have to find childcare for their kids all summer if you are not a teacher. But for me, as a former teacher and with a wife who is a teacher, I'm going school. Last day of school as number 1.
How does your life change significantly now that your wife is off? And like you said, like I know people down here in Florida that teachers that just got back from vacation, like they've been off for like several weeks. So yeah. we're way ahead of you, I guess. But like you said, I'm sure we go back earlier. It's just depending on where you're at, that kind of thing. How does your life change significantly? I suppose with the child, your life is somewhat different going forward. Better, easier.
Yeah. It's not that much different, just based on we have such a great support system here with our baby Natasha, she's 15 months now. Today actually 15 months, and we it's not like I'm lucky enough where it's like I do most of the stuff during the day when I'm not in shows, but either my mom or my wife Ava's mom, one of them is often here during the day to help out, like right now. And so for the most part, nothing changes all that much. It's just more fun because my wife and I get to hang out all summer. I work from home, so it's just like it's nice to have her here. It's like, oh, what should we do during the day? Well, we have this break. All right, well, let's throw on a movie. It's more enjoyable.
There you go. By the way, have you watched the movie we assigned you a couple weeks ago? Has that happened just yet or no?
I have not yet, but I will make it happen before the end of the weekend at the latest.
There's a penalty if you don't watch the movie within a week. I'll add another movie. There's a deadline.
Deal.
Continue as far as the tiers.
It's a busy stretch. I'm doing a Love Island podcast. I'm doing an Ironheart podcast. I'm doing the Bear podcast. Do you want to join for the Bear? You've been wanting to come on the Agents of Fandom podcast for a while. Can you binge at least the first half of the Bear by Monday?
Possibly. Yeah. I saw last night. I was up late. I saw it did pop. The new season popped up on Hulu. They dropped the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No marketing, no reviews because they didn't send out any screeners, and just straight up just dropped it in the quiet. It seemed like Disney. They dropped a Pixar movie, a new Marvel TV show, and The Bear, and they don't really care because they're putting all their money into Fantastic Four right now.
Yeah, another reboot. There's been several of those, right? I feel like there's been several of those that haven't quite worked fantastically, but I could be wrong.
The first one worked pretty well, but now this is the first time since the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been created.
Okay, yeah. Rest of the tiers before we reveal the board. What do you got for the people?
Yeah, so I'll pull out the board right now and just dive into it. We got last day of school as number 1, tier 1, last day of the week, tier 2. It's still very exciting coming up to the weekend, but it's less momentous. It happens every week. Last day of the season. Now this could be for your favorite sports team. This could have been your own sports team that you're playing for, but I'm kind of thinking like last day of the regular season. It could be very good. It could be very bad. It is a high upside, low floor stack. If you had a great regular season, you're excited about the playoffs, it's probably a pretty good one. If you had a really bad season,
Raptors
want to get it done and you just get it out of there, the end of the season is not so great for you. It's not so great. And so with that being said, end of the season, number 3, end of vacation, number 4. I personally enjoy getting home at the end of the last day of the vacation. Like I'm always as excited to get home as I am to have left in the first place. And so it's not that bad for me. It's still playable. But at the same time, if you had a really fun vacation, it's tough to wind down at the end of it. And then the very last one, last day of life. It's usually a sad day. It's usually a tough day. You're gone after that. It's the last day of life. We're not playing it. We're not playing around with that. You don't want to play with the last day of life. You want it to mean something. So we're no stacks in there.
I thought of another one for the board. I don't know where it would have went, but retirement. Did you consider retirement?
Last day of work, like permanently, that would have been a really good one.
Yeah. I mean, that might, I don't really know where it would fit. Obviously a positive, I imagine. I assume most people would like, not that we don't love what we're doing, but just, that's not the commentary on that. And anyways, this is not even work, right? Okay, let's go ahead. Let's knock it out. Let's throw some teams in some tiers. We will entertain Seattle and Minnesota. Let me give it a refresh. But last we saw again, it is orange. It is orange, and we'll see. At some point, we're going to get some news. I know Roth always talks about Minnesota being one of the smartest teams when it comes to weather, so they'll probably do what the right thing is. But according to Roth, and I'll read what he wrote earlier today, I'll start by saying that I'm not sure what the game plan here is or even what it should be. There was a lot of rain coming this afternoon. They could try to play on time, but it will be absolutely soaked and will at some point become too wet to play. They could try to start late, but the game might not play until 7 p.m. I'd recommend they postpone it. He goes on. But again, I read that and I'm like, it's probably going to postpone, but I don't know. Things can change. Weather is fluid. But let's throw them in the tiers. Woods Richardson taking on Emerson Hancock, 9 total. Minnesota, the slight favorite here. I don't really know how to handle this one, but you tell me. Seattle and Minnesota.
As it stands right now, like this could absolutely change when we hear from Roth, but as it stands right now, I think I'm probably just going to X out this whole game. I do like the bats on both sides, but I just don't know if I really need it when there's other teams that I like, and this is the only game with an intense weather situation. So as it stands right now, I'm just going to waffle, and I'm going to put both of these teams in tier 3 because we don't know about the weather. I know the usual thought process is let's put them in the tiers of not including weather, but as it stands right now, I just don't feel like I can do that. I'm planning on not playing them at all, but I do like both of these offenses if we get the okay, so I'm going to drop them both in of the season tier 3.
Yeah, that's where I would put them too. And I would also say like game stack or nothing essentially is kind of where I'm at. And we'll see what Roth has to say. But I wouldn't be picking off like one-offs here. That just doesn't seem to be the optimal way to play it. Gausman versus Tanner Bybee, 7.5 total. Cleveland slight favorite here, minus 137. Luke's is batting second for Toronto. We mentioned we like Barger is a good bit. I think Luke's is also kind of a pinch hit risk if a lefty comes in, just kind of a alarm on that one, but he is in the 2-hole as of right now. We know J-Ram is spectacular.
They have some serious outfield depth problems right now, so that may not be the case.
Okay. Other guys that are on the IL, or there are players that are just dinged that are not in the IL that are like kind of not available?
Both. Hold on, let me look at the lineup. Straw is in it, and Clase is in it, so I don't think he can get pitch hit for. Like, I guess maybe Springer, but they probably want to get the day off. I think Rodin's hurt.
He's also a lefty, too. Oh, Alejandro Kirk's on the bench? I know it's a catcher. It's a little bit different sometimes, but,
Yeah, so I guess they could put Springer out there if they don't want to give him a day off, but Springer's the only outfielder left not playing right now.
Yeah. Does he plays the field still, right?
Yeah.
Springer? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he can't do center field very well, but he's still fine anywhere else.
Where do you want to throw your Blue Jays and the Guardians?
Guardians, I'll go tier 4. I don't think they're a tier 5 team just because, like we talked about, Gausman can suck sometimes. I don't know. Like, I don't really want to just try it for willy-nilly if I were playing like 3 lineups because he's probably going to be good. He's a good pitcher. It's just every now and then he doesn't have that splitter or his slider working properly. So I'm going to go in of vacation tier 4 for the Guardians. They are playable, but they are not among my favorites today up against Gausman. Blue Jays, I will go tier 3. I just don't really like the lineup today. I do like that it's kind of lefty heavy up top because Bybee is significantly worse against lefties than he is righties. But I kind of wish it was Jimenez instead of Luke's in that number 2 spot. And so I'll go Blue Jays tier 3. I wanted to like them more, but just don't really see it with that lineup outside of a few guys. I like it as a mini stack more than a full.
I did pull up Derek Carty, the bat. He has the pinch hit risk, and according to him, Clase and Luke's are both 24%. Barger 16%, which is kind of surprising to me, and Straw at 11%. We're talking about how thin they might be as far as the bench. Heineman also can turn into Alejandro Kirk too in the right situation.
Yeah,
if they need a better bat and it's a tie game and it's late, that kind of thing. But okay, just wanted to throw that out there. Wanted to share that. Of course, Cardi will be on later, about a half hour, maybe even less, with Cheap Interrupts, Kevin Roth, as well as TastefulTides, Tim Buell hanging out there in the chat. Third clue for Fleet Thursday. Say that fast. It is bird. Bird is the third clue. Square, stretch, and bird. That is our first three clues. There are two more coming if necessary. Get yourself a week free of RT Premium. Tell me what athlete I'm talking about in the Discord. All right. Game number 3, the Athletics taking on the Tigers. That is Jeffrey Springs versus Dietrich Enns. No Kerry Carpenter here for Detroit. Left on left. Two lefties here. So, Kurtz has been on fire, but the power should be somewhat subdued, I guess, left on left. I don't know Enns splits off the top of my head. Speaking of pinch alert,
don't you, Dean, with those lefties? You want to know what Nick Kurtz's ISO is against lefties this year? Oh, that's whoops.
How many?
It's only 108.
Yeah,
I added it versus all.
Yeah, but it's all small sample stuff too. So he's only been up for so long. I would also say, by speaking of pinch hit alert, Jahmai Jones is pinch hit alert, very strong in my brain. I'll see what Cardi has to say. But where do you want to throw Detroit and Sacramento? Parts unknown, the Athletics.
I'm going to throw Detroit up in tier 2 just because of the high ownership for Jeffrey Springs today. And now I do think Jeffrey Springs would probably be my cash SB2. I don't think he's in a vacuum bad play. It's just with that really high ownership on a small-ish slate, or slate that feels smaller than it is. I'm going to go with Detroit all the way up in of the week in tier 2. And I think I'm going to put the Athletics of Sacramento there with them. We don't really know anything about this Enns guy other than that he's old and not all that good from an MLB standpoint. And so I like the Athletics way better against a righty than a lefty, but I'll still play them today up in tier 2. These are going to be two of my higher owned stacks.
Yeah, Jones, by the way, coming in at 60% pinch hit alerts, according to the bat. That is a big boy number. It's possible that Springs gets the hook like right after facing Torres for the third time, and then Jones is gone. He only gets 2 at bats. All right, Tampa, Kansas City, Michael Lorenzen throwing baseballs against the Rays, who are throwing out Shane Baz. It is hot. It is humid. Wind is blowing out. I believe the total has jumped up even higher to 10.5 as the show has progressed. I want to see what Weather Edge has to say. But last we saw, hot, humid, wind blowing out. In 126 similar games, we've seen a spike in homers at 22.7%, a spike in runs at 23%. Wind is blowing out to left center. How do you see the Rays and the Royals make it out today?
I'm muted, my bad. I just want to address one thing quick, because we've got a lot of people in chat asking about the weather in Minnesota and Seattle. No need to apologize if you're new coming in, no problem. That's what we're here for. Unfortunately, we don't know anything, but the meteorologist who does, Kevin Roth, will be here in about 25 minutes to give you the full breakdown of the weather and his report on the radar and such. So we don't know for sure yet. It looks dicey. Essentially, it's going to be raining all day, and if they want to play it, it's going to happen tonight. But Kevin Roth, our wonderful meteorologist, will come in and give the full report shortly. Speaking of weather, it is hot today in Kansas City. Like you said, the wind is blowing out. It's 90 degrees. I don't really like either of these teams outside of Tampa Bay, but it feels so weird because the weather is so great, but the stadium is trash for hitting home runs. And Tampa's coming from a stadium that is probably the third best for hitting home runs. And so it's really tough to know where to go. Both of these pitchers are actually reverse splitsy when it comes to power. Lorenzen pretty neutral, though. I think Tampa is going to be a tier 2 stack for me. I just don't really trust Lorenzen. This weather is so great for hitting. I'm going to go tier 2 for Tampa today. For KC, I'm going to drop them to 3 just because I like them a lot more of a mini stack. I see myself getting a lot more just like Bobby Witt and 2 of Garcia and Vinny P, maybe Jack Caglione. Did you say Perez is not in the lineup?
Not in the lineup.
Yeah, so I do think I'm going to get to these guys more as mini stacks than full stacks. And so I'll go KC in tier 3, Rays up to tier 2, just because there's only like 3 players I like on the Rays. Bobby Witt, I think, is one of the better plays on the slate. Outside of that, they're just kind of meh. I'm much more willing to stack up Tampa Bay, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, Jonathan Aranda. Even these back-end guys who are cheap, I think, are a viable stack today.
You mentioned the ballpark. I hate the ballpark, too. It is hot today, but you look at Savant's ballpark factors. It's a 91 Kauffman Stadium, which is tied for the second worst, tie with Milwaukee, Seattle, and Texas this season. And from a home run perspective, it is the worst. It's the worst home run ballpark this season. So, again, the weather's great, and these pitchers are not to be feared. I like the Tampa side. I like Brandon Lau. Caminero's awesome. Aranda's great against righties as well. The back end, it kind of falls off. They're not facing a lefty, which means like they're more vulnerable to pinch hits. They open against lefties. You could always play Witt and Vinny P. Caglione, I'm still trying to make that happen, and he's still super cheap, so don't mind that. And if India, we always talk about India as being like the terrible chalk. If you're playing him, like I would only play him in a stack as a general thought. And I just the nonsense the Royals roll out on the back end is so terrible. Kana and Waters and Fermin, it's hard to get excited about any of that. But let's scoot along. Nobody's won today's Slate Thursday just yet. Let's see. There's some awesome guesses, though. Mark Fidrich is an amazing guess, who was known as Mark the Bird Fidrich back in the day. Larry Bird, okay. Rory Sparrow is an incredible guess. He was like
I thought the McHale one was good, too, of just like he has a very square build. He's got very long arms to stretch, and he played with Larry Bird. I thought that was a fun one.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I can see where people are getting to. Chris Anderson, Birdman, that was also a guess, but Rory Sparrow is a name I have not thought about for years. He was on the original Miami Heat team, I believe, the expansion team in like 92 or 93. Anyways, that's just a fabulous guess. It's not Rory Sparrow because nobody knows who he is outside of me and this person. But let's move along. And the Sparrows, I'm sure they're aware. Philadelphia and Houston, it's Christopher Sanchez taking on Hunter Brown. We spoke about Hunter Brown being the best pitcher talent-wise on the slate. Not really a conversation. 3.22 is his team total. Again, a 7 total on the whole. Not a ton of offense here because these are 2 of the better pitchers. Will that be reflected in the tiers? You tell me. Where are we seeing Houston and Philadelphia? It looks like they're both in the tier 5. And is there much you want to add to that? It's not good.
I don't know if I would say there's anybody that you just like absolutely can't play today, but the Phillies are pretty damn close to that list for me. In Houston, I considered putting them tier 4 just because Sanchez he's very good, but he's not on the same caliber as Hunter Brown. But even still, I'm not playing any of either of these teams today. I'm going to be Xing both of them out completely. And not have a single player from either team in my pool. And so with that considered, they're both tier 5 for me.
Fourth clue. Let's get a winner here. Fourth clue for Thursday is deep dish. Deep dish is the fourth clue. Square, stretch, bird, and deep dish. Cubs taking on the Cardinals, 9 total. Andre Pallante versus Imanaga. Imanaga, we've not seen him for a while. Pallante, just one of the best ground ball pitchers in baseball. That is his skill. He's not anything to be feared, but he does keep the ball on the ground really, really impressively. We did just get Chicago's lineup, by the way. Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, Swanson, Bush, Kelly, Horner, and Shaw. I think that is as anticipated. How do you see the Cubs and the Cards?
Cubs are our first tier 1 stack of the night. Stacked them a ton yesterday, and it went very, very well, and I do like this spot again. Now, I recognize Pallante is not a guy that the traditional stack typically works that well against. He does not walk very many batters, and he is a really, really good ground ball pitcher. But the wind is blowing out. It is super duper hot. Yes, he's good at getting ground balls, but if you look at very good, the best, some would say, at getting ground balls. But if you look at this, you look at plate IQ for the Cubs. Let me actually just pull up that screen. Here, give me a second. Look at plate IQ.
I'll just add, as you're doing that, like to speak to the weather, it is 97, winds blowing dead center, 8 miles per hour, dew point at 71, 83 previous games there in St. Louis. Obviously, St. Louis, at best, neutral ballpark for hitters. We've seen a 22% bump in homers, 18% bump in runs. And, yeah, talk about plate IQ.
Might as well just keep the martingale going and say that our guy PCA is Spidey Bomb number 2 as we approach 50 likes here. He's going to hit a home run one of these days. He's really, really good, and he's in great spots. He's hitting the ball really hard, and it's not going out of the park. It hasn't been a long cold streak by any means. It just felt that way because I have been betting on him. But plus 525 today to hit a home run. I love the Cubs. If we look at this, like the advanced stats of this Chicago Cubs team here, 32% ground ball rate for Happ this year, 28% for Tucker, 32% for Suzuki, 29% for PCA. These are really, really, really good fly ball hitters throughout this whole team. And Palante has been a guy throughout the season that, you know, his ground ball rate's super high, but so is his home run to fly ball rate, because when the ball goes in the air, he gets hit really hard. It's just usually on the ground. And so when the ball goes in the air, it often goes out of the park. So while this isn't a stack that I feel like is going to, you know, have 12 hits and 5 walks and everybody gets there, this is a stack that I think we could see 5 home runs from at different points during the game with this heat and with Palante's struggle with power if guys can get it in the air. And so in particular, Tucker and PCA, as always, when I like the Cubs, my 2 favorite bats on the slate, Suzuki, Happ, Bush, all really like them. My favorite of the cheap options is Matt Shaw, but I have no problems with going to, if you absolutely have to and you want to complete your stack, go Kelly or Horner. I would rather not play those 2. 1, because they don't have the same power against righties as the other 2, but 2, because they don't have the same fly ball rates as everybody else in that lineup.
Well, just seeing your screen, I realize I've done a terrible job. The black looks so much better than the white as far as it pops so much better. I don't know why I have the white backdrop on my plate IQ, and I guess I guess there's just one click away, right? Oh, there you go. I just did it in the upper right hand corner. All right, night mode. Still just 1 team in of school, 3 teams in of the week. The most popular tier is right now in the middle. The 3rd tier is of the season. Don't we love the Cleveland Guardians?
I do still have to do the Cardinals in that game.
Yeah. Where does St. Louis go?
Without Herrera, that lineup just looks so much less dangerous against righties, and so against lefties. Sorry, I don't like the lineup. But it's also Imanaga's first game off of the IL in incredibly hot weather, so I don't want to discount them completely. I'm going to go put the Cardinals in of the season, put them in tier 3.
Donovan, Wynn, Burleson, Contreras, Arenado, Segisi, Gorman, Pajes, and then Garrett Hampson, who's just, yeah. Oh, and also they've lost Walker. That's another guy that's missing in their lineup. I believe he had an appendicitis, so he went on the IL as well. So a couple guys that are missing for St. Louis. Dodgers are in Coors. They have a close to 8 total, 7 and change, taking on Austin Gomber. No lineup just yet. We are anticipating that Muncy does not play for what it's worth, but he certainly might. There is some pinch at risk for guys like Enrique Kike Hernandez, assuming correct lineup, as well as Miguel Rojas. Kim might hit the lineup too. We'll see. I feel like he hasn't started in a couple games, but just keep an eye on that. Kershaw on the other end, taking on the Rockies. They have a 4 total, a little bit above 4. How you seeing the Dodgers and the Rockies?
Let's start with the Rockies, and even though I don't love the spot against Kershaw, I do really like how this lineup is looking lately. in comparison to how trash they started the season. And it is in Coors Field. And so I'm going to throw the Colorado Rockies in of the week. They're not that tough to get to. They're fairly inexpensive. And the matchup's not that bad. Like Kershaw has been pretty hit or miss this year. And so I'm going to put them up in of the week. You ready for the hottest take of the show, Dean?
Let's do it.
Now, full disclosure, yes, these are the best raw points, guys. But I need to say what I think is the best thing to do today. And I don't think the best thing to do is stack up these expensive Dodgers, or if you're playing the cheap ones and they got the big pinch hit risks. So I'm putting the Dodgers in tier 3. Like, $7,500 is too much for a hitter. It just is. I don't want to get there.
It's a lot.
Teoscar Hernandez at 59, I do like, but Betts at 58, I sure don't. Will Smith at 6, that's too much for me. And so I'm going to be underweight on the Dodgers today. Yes, they are likely to score the most runs, but it may not matter. Even if they do, they're probably not optimal unless they score 16 runs. And so I'm not totally out on the Dodgers today, but mostly out. We're going to put them in tier 3 of the season.
No Ryan McMahon for Colorado left on left, but also no Hunter Goodman, which seems a little bit more important. So Goodman, one of the better hitters on Colorado, taking a seat today. Fifth clue. We have a fifth clue that's needed because nobody's got it just yet. They've kind of danced around it. They've been dancing around it, TJ. But the fifth clue here, maybe this will change things in the Discord. It is gum, square, stretch, bird, deep dish, and gum. That is your 5 clues for Fleet Thursday. I feel like we're going to get a winner. If not, we'll get some bonus clues if necessary.
I said gum.
You thought I said what? Oh,
dumb.
No, gum. Yeah.
Which, to be honest, would also dumb would fit as a clue.
Would it?
That's my bonus clue. Dumb would fit as a clue.
You have to tell me why. I'm curious why you think it is. So afterwards, you'll have to let me know. But yeah, they're on it. They've kind of figured out where to hone in, but they haven't quite hit it just yet. Okay, TJ, the last game, it is the Marlins. The Marlins are taking on the Giants. Hayden Birdsong versus Jansen Junk. I had a last leg of a parlay last night with the Giants. Just needed the Giants to take me home, and they blew it in extras. The Marlins, they get a W, so good for them. They put up like a 5-spot or so in the 10th inning. Jansen Junk, who's been pretty good this year, like he just has. It's small sample stuff, so don't get too excited. The ballpark is great for throwing baseballs, not spectacular for hitting them. Birdsong, how long do they let him go is kind of the hiccup there. And this Marlins lineup is probably not as terrible as you want them to be. They're not great, but not as terrible as you'd expect in theory. But where are you putting the Marlins and the Giants?
Yeah, I think both of these teams are playable, but I don't really want to get to either of them because of that ballpark. I'll put the Giants in 4 just because I think there are some of them that you can get to. Devers is there now. He is very good, but I just don't really want to play them. Marlins, I'm considering putting in 3 just because of how heavily owned Hayden Birdsong is looking today. But they are still the Marlins at Giant Stadium, and so I think I'll drop them into tier 4 as well.
Marlins in tier 4, Giants in tier 4. Let's go ahead and give it a recap. I know we have crunch time coming in about 5 minutes or so. Cardi, Tim, and Kevin Roth. People are anticipating hearing something about Minnesota and Seattle. We have the article that I don't think it's changed. I think Roth has stayed firm on orange. I'm giving it a refresh right now. I think it's still firm on orange. Let's recap the board. The Cubs, they're all by themselves here. You power ranked, in case people are wondering what the board is. Last days. You power ranked last days. Last day of school, tier number 1. The only team hanging out with the last day of school is the Cubs. Second tier is of the week. That's Detroit, the Athletics, the Rays, the Rockies. Of the season, Seattle, Minnesota, Toronto, Kansas City, St. Louis, and the Dodgers. You gave the qualifiers why as far as the Dodgers. Vacation, it is Cleveland, the Giants, the Marlins, and life, that Philadelphia-Houston game. I guess we got to give a bonus clue, TJ. I don't see a winner unless I missed it. They're dancing around it. All sorts of Chicago players, Chicago references. but nobody has quite got it just yet. I thought Gum would lead them to a certain team. I see a lot of different teams being as far as Chicago, but Gum should probably tip you off to a certain team. But here's a bonus clue that will get people there. Let's just see how fast you can type. Spidey Bomb. That should get somebody home. All right. Do you have any homers for the people? I know you have Spidey Bombs, on the board that are scrolling. Anything else you want to specify? Anything else you want to highlight before we bring the Crunch Time crew in?
We are just 2 likes away from Spidey Bomb 3, so I might as well drop that one for the people because I know we'll get 2 more people hitting the like button right now. We are doing them. It's a bonus day every 25 likes instead of just every 50, so keep hitting that like button. We will get the next one dropping at 100 likes. Spidey Bomb number 3, we are going back to the well from yesterday again. This guy did not disappoint us like PCA did, and he actually came through. We are going Kyle Tucker at plus 550.
Accidentally, I said the name PCA several times to start the show. I think you did as well. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said that name. That just kind of plant that name in people's minds. But we did have a winner. TJ, I think you were awarding I think you awarded somebody that didn't quite have the fastest finger. I don't know if that's you're putting the in the Discord channel. We have PCA first said by it's Miss Mallory.
Oh, you're right. I missed the initials. Great call. It's Miss Mallory nailed it.
Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and give the recap as far as how we got to Square was in reference to your favorite game in school, Foursquare. He wears number 4. PCA wears number 4. Stretch. I saw several people use Stretch as far as like BJ Armstrong and other Armstrongs, but I guess in the 70s there was this famous toy called a Stretch Armstrong toy. Are you aware of the Stretch Armstrong toy? That was the thing.
I have heard the name Stretch Armstrong before. I did not know that it was in reference to a toy.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a superhero, so I Googled. I'm like, well, I thought it was both a superhero and a toy, but I think it was just a toy, a Stretch Armstrong. Bird, of course, Pete Crow Armstrong. Deep Dish is telling you that he plays for some Chicago. There's some sort of Chicago tie-in. And then Gum just tells you Wrigley Field. He plays in Wrigley Field. So there you go. We got to Pete Crow Armstrong. You're making 150 lineups today, TJ. What is your boldest stance? Your boldest stance is, I guess it's not playing a bunch of Dodgers. Is that's kind of the one you're most afraid of, not having enough of?
Yeah, I would say, I guess so, it's not having enough Dodgers. I haven't built any lineups yet. I'm going to do that once crunch time starts off and I don't have to, do the analyzing. But
multitask?
I've just been making my pool. I haven't actually done any builds yet. I'm going to be heavily underweight on the Dodgers. I'm going to be heavily overweight on Hunter Brown. So that's like really where what it all comes down to for me. I'll have over 50%, probably closer to 70-75% of Brown on DraftKings. I would hit the lock button on FanDuel. 100% of my lineups, every single lineup, Hunter Brown. And then I'll just be mixing and matching my SP2s on DraftKings. I don't know which one is going to come my highest owned yet, but I feel like I'm going to try and get underweight to Gausman, Birdsong, Springs, since they're all projecting for a ton of ownership. I will instead while going underweight on them, I will use it to go overweight on Jansen Junk, which feels gross, Tanner Bybee, even Dietrich Enns, which I don't like. But Christopher Sanchez is my favorite of the group, even though he's facing a heavily right-handed Houston lineup. So I'm going to be spending up a pitcher. You're sitting down at stacks. That's pretty much it.
Al wants to know your favorite 2 pitchers.
Like if I'm spending up for tournaments, it's Cubs, not Dodgers.
Yeah, I like the Cubs. I like the Rays. I never pick on Palante, but I'm making kind of an exception today. I'm probably going to be like you and prioritizing Brown over Dodgers. I just don't see myself getting to a ton of Ohtani. I know he's incredible, but it's just so hard to make that work. There was a question in chat from Alan, your favorite 2 pitchers as far as single entry on DK. I know you're playing 150. You're not necessarily focusing. Maybe are you playing a single entry lineup as well?
I'm not, but I definitely like. I kind of always think those things through in my head. So I would probably go. Weirdly enough, I'd probably go Brown and Junk.
Okay, so Joseph's asking Ennis or Junk. I guess they're both kind of junk. I know one's named Junk, but I think I would take Junk too.
For that.
Yeah, I would take Junk as well. All right, crunch time should be coming in here shortly. We have Roth and Tim and Cardi. Are they not fully assembled? Are we 2/3 assembled? Where are we at as far as crunch time?
We are 2/3 assembled. We are waiting on one
Cardi?
president, curator, creator, head honcho of the bat.
I'm being
we do have Roscoe though in the background, so maybe we don't need Cardi and we can just have Tim's cat Roscoe.
We got Roscoe. We have a Roscoe appearance.
We got a Roscoe appearance.
Oh man, Tim's got some an assortment of. He's got dogs and he has cats and he has guinea pigs, I believe. It's a lot going on. We got to get some like webcams in that house, see what's going on there. Tim, and he's got. I think he's in the water. Tim lives the life. He's got it made for sure. But yeah, do you want to just bring Roth on just to see what he has to say about Minnesota, Seattle? Because I'm anxious to hear it. I'm sure you are as well. Can we do that?
Yeah, sure. Let's dive in. We'll do a Spidey Bomb recap quick. Let's get us up to 100 likes, and I will have the 4th Spidey Bomb for you. So keep hitting that like button. We have Pete Crow Armstrong plus 500, Kyle Tucker plus 550, and Addison Barger plus 450 as our 3 so far. Let's do the transition, and hopefully Cardi will get here soon anyways.
Look at Roscoe. Wow. That's does he not move there, Tim? Is he just not budging? He looks pretty comfortable.
He's very comfortable. Yeah.
Is he heavy?
I'm pretty jealous. That looks incredible.
He is. He's a pretty heavy cat. Yeah. He does like the treats. So.
Did you give him the what's the treat? We were talking about this yesterday. What treats we were talking about? The Italian. It's probably
the cannolis. Yeah, I mean, I may have given him a little bit of my cannoli. Yeah.
Is that good for a cat? I don't know if that's I don't know.
It's probably not.
He likes it.
Probably not. It's probably not advised.
All right. Welcome. Your shirt is matching the background, which is pretty spectacular as well. Roth, we need to know about Minnesota and Seattle. You have it as orange. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have Cardi coming here as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Minnesota, you've said before, is like the smartest team when it comes to weather. So they tend to do the right things. And you didn't seem terribly optimistic in your write-up today, just kind of going through it. You're like, here's the options, and none of them are really good. And one of them is possibly like to wait till 7 o'clock. And on getaway day, to wait till 7 o'clock does not seem like something that can happen. But has anything changed since you wrote that up? Are we still at orange? Where are we at as far as Seattle, Minnesota?
We're still at orange. They are the best at the weather, in my opinion. The problem is, like, I don't know what I would do. Like, even if you're good at doing this, sometimes the weather's just against you. My current thought is that they probably late start and then try to play as much of a game as they can. And then another storm moves in, and I don't know if they can finish behind that or if they call it early. But I mean, they could still postpone it. Like, there's a lot that could happen, other than I think that there's going to be an early delay, likely as a late start. I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know.
Have we seen any reports at all? I've seen nothing. The game starts in 55 minutes. In theory, first pitch is 55 minutes away. This is about the time where you start seeing stuff as far as tarps, or is the tarp on the field right now? Do we know?
I haven't seen anything, but I mean, the range should be if they don't late start, you don't want to play pitchers. I'll tell you that, because there will be an early delay if they do not late start.
We don't want pitchers.
We're not worried about
we don't
pitchers
want pitchers
anyways. We don't want pitchers, but both of the offenses are in quite good spots.
Right. But then the concern is not just will they play, which maybe not, but will they play a full game, which the second line moving in becomes an issue. So truthfully, beyond there's going to be an early delay, I don't know what will happen there.
Okay.
I think the tarp's been on all morning in Minnesota, because I just saw a tweet that said the tarp was just pulled back for a while so Royce Lewis could run the bases. It went well. He's scheduled to DH tomorrow in the minor leagues. So It kind of sounds like they've had the tarp there all morning, and they just lifted it off so he could do a base run.
All right. Well, I guess my work here is done. TJ is going to disappear behind the scenes. Crunch time. You guys got almost 50 plus minutes. TastefulTides, Tim. You got Derek, Carty. You have Roth. Of course, I imagine we'll be getting alerts and updates as the show progresses to 110, the first pitch. But everybody else, hit that like button. Do subscribe. Don't go anywhere because Roth has got you for the next 50 minutes. Roth, it's all yours.
I do indeed. Thanks, guys. Welcome to it. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz and a cat. Maybe three of the sharpest minds in the biz. I don't know. Roscoe's pretty sharp, I've heard. We got TastefulTides. Tim in the house. What up, man?
Yeah, not much. It's definitely going to be it's another Dodgers and Coors slate. Definitely going to be kind of another one of those interesting decisions where if we want to pay up for easily the best raw point stack, but also the by far the most expensive stack. And there's really not a lot of good, really solid pitching on the slate. So it's going to be it's an interesting slate to break down.
How many games is it now that we've had LA and Coors? Is this like the third or fourth game we're on?
I think this is the third.
And how would you say it's gone so far? Has it been better to fade, better to play?
I think they've exceeded their team totals, but in terms of DFS, outside of Max Muncy, the Dodgers stack as a whole has not done that great. Max Muncy has done well. I think he went for 29 DK last night. Granted, he got a tremendously fluky 2 RBI double. I think
the pop up.
Yeah, that pop up.
If you guys didn't see this play, so the rain was coming in Colorado. It was really coming down, and all the players are they go to the managers. They're pointing up it's freaking pouring, right? But the umps want to get this final at bat. I think there was already 2 strikes in the at bat. And he popped it up, and every single fielder in the area was just trying to look into the rain. Nobody had any idea where it was. Fell to the ground. Got was it a 2 RBI double or a 2 RBI single? That was an insane clip. I loved it.
Yeah, and I'm getting reminded by the chat that Conforto had a two home runs at a really, really cheap price. But Ohtani has not been outstanding. I mean, he's kind of matched his median projection of around 14 to 16 points or something like that. But he hasn't knocked it out of the park, and he's 7,500 today. So I mean, he's really, I think that's too much for a hitter. But the thing is, on this particular slate, today, we don't really have outstanding aces outside of Hunter Brown that we'll talk about that we really have to be playing. So I think the Dodgers are really a lot more accessible today.
Yeah. That cat is just beautiful. I can't tell you how much I want a fat cat sitting on my lap right now. I'm so jealous of this nice, fat, soft cat just chilling, all calm. I'm going to get one of those. Cardi, we got Derek Carty, CEO of the Bat and the Bat X Enterprises in the house as well. What up, man? How are you?
Doing pretty good. Got some day baseball today. Another good night last night. So yeah, feeling good.
Very good. Well, we got to figure out what we're going to do today. And unfortunately, that does include the concerns about Minnesota. I slightly lean that they will play some portion of this game, but I don't know how much they're going to play. And there's too many variables. I don't love it. I think if you can play any other game, go for it. If you want to do it in a GPP, cool. I'm on board. But it is not a safe play whatsoever. And that's essentially where I stand. I don't know how necessary these dudes are, but in cash, I don't think I'd play them. Cardi, if I told you were going to get 6 innings, would you play these guys in cash?
No, I don't think you can. You need full volume for anyone.
Yeah, and I can't promise you full 9. In fact, I can't even promise you the game will play, though my lean is that it will. I don't know. It probably does work out. Full disclosure, it probably does work out, but there is still a significant portion, a significant chance that it doesn't, and you're totally effed, and you get 0 points or not enough points.
It sounds like if you're playing GPPs today with that game, I would just stack that game. I would not take one-offs in this scenario.
I think that's the move. If you're going, go on.
Yeah, like if you were building like 150 like portfolio, like make sure like not to take one-offs from this game and just like maybe put like three stacks or whatever, of like completely just stacking this game, or maybe like a couple teams with Simi Woods Richardson or Hancock just to be different. But I really would not. Sounds like I would not be taking one-offs from this game.
Yeah. Some people on Twitter pointing out that these two teams don't face each other again all season. It's not easy getting Seattle back in Minnesota. Like, they want to play. There's no doubt they are going to try to play. I just don't know if they can get 9 in or not with multiple rounds of rain and storms. And yes, Alex says you're talking about Minnesota. Yes, everything else is just a chance for a delay and not a high enough chance that I think you should do anything about it. So any other game, you could see a delay, but probably it'll work out fine. So that's it for my little weather spiel. I like the hitting conditions in both St. Louis and Kansas City. I don't know if they're on this part of the slate or not, but I like the hitting conditions there. And with that, let's turn it over. Let's talk about some of these pitchers. Cardi, what do you like?
I like Hunter Brown.
And that's the end.
Yeah. After that, there's a bit of a fall off. You have a dozen guys that project within just a few points of each other. Mm-hmm. So for me, that means just playing the salary game. Jeffrey Springs is the one that I think makes the most sense. He's not the guy he used to be, but he's all right. He's facing Detroit. I think Detroit's a bit fraudulent. He's most importantly 6.3K. And I think I'd much rather pay that for him than 9.3 for Christopher Sanchez against Houston, or, almost 9K for Gausman or Bybee against low K offenses or something like that. Like, just give me Springs. Simeon Woods Richardson, I think, is interesting enough at 7.2K, especially with, I guess, the possibility of like a 5 or 6 inning complete game, bonus on the docket potentially. Otherwise though, like it's not great. Like, you can play Gausman, you can play Sanchez, you can play Bybee, you can play Birdsong, but it's not the best slate for pitching.
Yeah. Okay. Do we talk about Boz? I feel like he was the dude at some point, and now he's not the dude.
He's fine. I mean, the stuff is good. It's not. It's a bad park for strikeouts. It's really good hitting weather. You can do it just because there's upside and pitching sucks on this slate, but he doesn't project as well as some of these other guys.
Okay. Tim, what are your thoughts? John says he's been unduded. Yeah. All right. That's fair.
Yeah, that's possible.
Tim, Hunter Brown, right?
Yeah, I mean, Hunter Brown is by far the most talented pitcher on this slate, and it's not even really close. I don't think that you like have to play him though in GPPs. Yes, like he should be your SP1 in cash games, but I don't think he's like by any means like a must-have today. I mean, he is 11-3 on DK. The matchup against the Phillies is okay, but I don't think it's outstanding. I assume he'll be probably the second highest owned pitcher outside of Springs, which I think, just to talk about Springs really quick, I think, Springs is kind of shaky chalk today. He's going to, this is not like a really, really easy matchup. And he's going to be by far the most popular pitcher, I think. We currently have him projected, I think, around 40%. And that's for like, large field GPPs, and single entry, he's going to be even higher than that. So I think there is kind of a case to fade him. The issue on this slate is who are we fading him for, because there really isn't like outstanding pivots. I'll tell you who I currently have, which I know Derek's going to hate, but who I currently have in single entry is Clayton Kershaw.
I thought you were going to pick my guy Junk, and I was going to cheer.
Oh yeah, no, I mean Junk's okay too. I mean, I certainly wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to go Junk, but I'm going Clayton Kershaw. There's no Goodman in the lineup, no Ryan McMahon in the lineup. So I mean, I know that we're pitching a guy in Coors, which is super super risky. But when I look at some of these other options, it's just like nobody that I really want to play. So I don't think that Kershaw is going to come in with that much ownership. So he's currently in my single entry team. He's not my cash game team. It's way too risky for cash. But when I look at some of these other options on the slate today, just doesn't seem all that great. So it's kind of like it's just a really, really ugly pitching slate. Derek, do you have any thoughts on Dietrich Enns? I don't know much about him.
Yeah, Dietrich Enns is like 35 years old. Just was not very good for a while. Went and pitched in Japan, went and pitched in KBO. They brought him back this year. I don't think he's very good, but at 6.5K in a good matchup, you can certainly do worse for taking shots in tournaments. Like, I don't think he's that much worse of a play than Springs is.
Okay.
Would you rather him or Kershaw, Cardi?
I'm not going to tell you can't do it because pitching is very flat on this slate.
Yeah.
My concerns with Kershaw is that even if he's pitching well, they don't give him a very long leash these days.
Mm-hmm.
So what really is the upside? But on this slate, 20 points might be all you need from a 7K guy. So
yeah. Okay. Tim, let's go to FanDuel real quick. There is only one pitcher needed on FanDuel. There is only one pitcher we have any faith in. Do you just play the one dude in the one spot or no? Or is pricing a little different?
I mean, it kind of depends on what you want to do with bats. I would say Hunter Brown is even more accessible on FanDuel. So, I mean, he's 100% your cash game guy. If you're playing smaller entry, higher dollar stuff, I would just roll out Hunter Brown. If you want to take some savings, I would pay $7,900 for Jeffrey Springs. But I mean, Hunter Brown is even easier to play on FanDuel. So I mean, I feel like that's kind of a don't overthink it over on that site.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Let's talk about the bats and the stacks. Of course, we already discussed. We got LA and Colorado, so that's our highest projected. But you got to think about price. You got to think about ownership. Tim, how are you handling this? Especially if and I guess it matters if you're playing Hunter Brown or not, depending on, what teams you can go after.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've talked about the Dodgers at length the last 3 days. They're the clear number one in terms of raw point stacks. They are not my personal favorite though, when it comes to ownership, points per dollar, things like that. I really like the Rays today going up against Michael Lorenzen. I know that it's not like the best park in terms of for power, but I think that there is tremendous hitting weather there that should offset that. I really like the prices of this Rays stack. It kind of allows you to be flexible. Like, you can pay it for Hunter Brown and get to them, or you can also double pay down and play the Rays too, and have some leftovers for some powerful one-offs in that lineup. So I really like the kind of flexibility that the Rays give you at their price point. I've heard a lot of talk about the Cubs today. I think that they're okay. Palante does a really good job of keeping the ball on the ground, but the Cubs just have so much raw power on that roster. So I do like the Cubs quite a bit. I was hoping to play the Twins today. Obviously that's not going to happen for me as a single entry player. But if I was a large field guy, I might throw in a couple twin stacks if I was building out 150 or something like that. Cause I do like stacking against Emerson Hancock. But I mean, that's too risky for cash, too risky for single entry. I don't mind the Royals on the other side of that Rays game. I like both sides of that Royals Rays game quite a bit. And I think that really would be about it for me. I don't mind taking some one-offs of Toronto or some one-offs of Cleveland as well, even though I don't mind Gausman. But I mean, a J-Ram one-off I think is a good play, or a Vlad one-off or a Bichette one-off for Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. Cardi, your favorite stacks?
A lot of similar stuff. Dodgers are by far the best. Expensive, but the best. I like Colorado a lot today. I also like the Cubs. The prices on them are tough. It's kind of similar to yesterday where like the expensive guys are like really expensive. But there are ways to make good Cub stacks, I feel like. I wanted to play the Twins Mariners stuff too. The prices on them were really good. Do with that what you will. My next favorite would be the Rays and the Royals, especially the Royals side is really affordably priced. I like them a lot. And then Detroit stacks against Springs.
Yeah. Okay. That's what the main things we need to discuss here. We talked some pitchers, we talked some stacks. Now we got to go around the horn. We get to start, of course, at catcher. And Cardi, you can lead us off there.
Sure. So Will Smith is 6K. If you have the money, by all means, he's in cores against a bad lefty in Gomber. I haven't seen the Dodgers lineup yet, although someone in chat said Muncy's not in it, so I assume it's out now. Let me.
It's
actually somebody posted it, so I can.
Same as projected.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah,
so Will Smith's in there. He's hitting third. Will Smith's the guy. If you can spend up there, great. Bradley Fulford? Braxton Fulford on the other side of this game. For Colorado, I think is perfectly fine to save some money with. Otherwise, a lot of the best catching options are in that Seattle, Minnesota game. And it's like, well, what do you do about that? If you just want to punt, Matt Thais, Pedro Pajes, Jake Rogers, certainly Rogers in your Detroit stacks against Springs, or Patrick Bailey. I mean, they're all cheap. They're all whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, same thought. And yeah, man, it sucks to see Jeffers and Cal in the one game that's a little dicey because obviously those are both almost always great plays.
Yeah, I mean, we really missed out on some really awesome catching today, and Mitch Garver as a punt too.
Yeah,
you can still do it. You know, I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah,
do it. It's the only game where things could legitimately go wrong and you don't get 9 innings. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of upside in catching today that we kind of is really risky due to weather. I have Matt Thais right now, but I mean, I'm not really happy about it. I mean, it's kind of like, just that option right now. I think Bo Naylor is okay as well. But I mean, Will Smith is easily the top option, but he's 6K. Like, I don't really want to advocate paying for that. Like, yeah, as part of Dodger stacks, go for it. But he's not somebody that I would be wanting to one-off at a 6K price point. I'd rather be one-ing off of some of his other Dodger teammates, or, if we could pay the extra $500 for the big dumper, but I mean, Will Smith is not really a guy that I want to one-off. So I'm saving at catcher today as part of my Rays stack, or as part of like a mini Guardian stack, something like that. I wouldn't even hate it if people wanted to get really contrarian, just go all the way down to like Jake Rogers at 2,300, something like that. Because I mean, to me, this is just a spot where you're going to be saving money today. And we've lost the best punts, at least for cash, with Garver and Jeffers.
Okay. What does that bring us to? First base. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, Shohei Ohtani's 7,500. Personally, I think that's just too much for a hitter. I'm just not. I mean, yes, he's outstanding. He's awesome. I think he really needs to exceed 20 points to hurt you in GPP. He can easily do that. No question. But he's just somebody that I'm not going to be playing today. I like going with these Rays options like Yandy Diaz or Jonathan Aranda at 4,500. So those are my two favorite overall like points per dollar plays. Like I said, I don't mind getting someone else of the Blue Jays. So like a Vlad, I like quite a bit. I wouldn't mind like a Nick Kurtz at 3,700. I think he's an interesting play under 4K. I think that's really maybe like a Kyle Manzardo too. I wouldn't mind him at 3,500 batting second for Cleveland.
Okay. I'm having some issues on my weather page, so I'm going to need y'all to just kind of run through it solo. So Cardi, first base, second base, Tim second. You know the drill. I need to figure out what's going on. I'm losing some data on my weather page, and that's not good timing.
Yeah.
So first base, I kind of think, at least in cash, you can get up to Ohtani. There's enough value at other spots where you can make it work. And his projection is insane. Like, he projects for over 16 DraftKings points. I just looked up the historicals. That is the 6th highest projection anybody has ever projected in the BATX ever. So, like,
what's number one? I'm curious.
Number one was Fernando Tatis in Mexico.
Oh, right. Oh, well, yeah, that's cheating.
Yeah. So, like, those are the comps we're looking at here. The Ohtani projection is really good. Obviously, you don't have to play him. I like Toglia on the other side. I like Yandy Diaz quite a bit. But if I can get to Ohtani, I want to do it.
Yep. Yeah. Just so everyone knows, I am playing Ohtani in cash games. I'm just not playing him in my single entry team. I believe in the raw point projection for cash, and he is relatively easy to get to because we do have Jeffrey Springs. But I'm currently not playing Ohtani in GPP.
Yeah. So second base, we'll move on while Roth's doing his thing. Tommy Edman is the Dodger here. Probably other Dodgers you want to prioritize over him, I would think, especially at close to 5K. But he's good. Thairo Estrada on the other side of the game for the Rockies for 1,000 less, I prefer, or even 500 less than him with Jonathan India. India hasn't been great this year, but I mentioned really liking KC. I like the prices on them. India's still leading off. The weather's great. For 3.2K at a bad position, you can do a lot worse. And then you also have Arcia in there for Colorado for 3K, who I think is good. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, so obviously, Tommy Edman, if you can get to him in cash, is the top play. I'm currently going with Brandon Lau in my single entry team because I'm high on the Rays. I don't mind Jonathan India as a salary saving option. I also won't even mind, like, just to be like different, because Sanchez is going to get some ownership as Jose Altuve as like a one-off, even though I'm not high on Houston. But I think he's interesting for GPP. Same thing with like Gleyber Torres, because Springs is going to be so highly owned. Don't forget about Torres as like a one-off. I'm not super high on Detroit as a stack, but getting to some of their one-offs in GPPs, I think is fine. I don't even mind like a Xavier Edwards too. I mean, this second base is just always seems so bad this season. Definitely not. It's going to be a mostly in stacks position for me, but like Torres, Edwards, Altuve, I think are all super interesting, GPP one-off type ideas. I will transition us to third base. Caminero at 4,700, I think is probably, at least for me, he's both in my cash game team and in my single entry team. So I'm really high on him today. I've talked at length about how I like the Rays today. Kiki Hernandez, I mean, he's okay. I mean, there's going to be some pitch hit risk for sure, but I mean, he's okay as part of your Dodger stacks. Obviously Rafael Devers. I mean, he's fine for GPPs. He's probably fine for cash as well. Same thing with Jose Ramirez, but Caminero is just kind of like fitting in everything for me. So he's currently the guy for me. Matt Shaw at the bottom of that Cubs lineup, I think he's fine for tournaments. And Addison Barger at 3,800. He's third base outfield eligible. He's fine as well for GPP.
Okay, good stuff. I'm back. I did get the weather page fixed. So if you were seeing no team names, you just hit refresh and that should repopulate. Cardi, what do you like at third?
I like Kike a lot. I don't love the high end. Like, Devers is fine. Caminero good. Jose Ramirez, but I don't think any of them are like a priority. I'd rather spend at other positions. Like, maybe this is kind of how I'm, maybe finding my way up to Ohtani more than Tim is. I think you can just go cheap at third base, whether that means Kike, who they will pinch hit for sometimes, but the last couple of years, not nearly as much as they used to. I think the bat has it at like 17% today. So it's there, but it's not massive. The guy that I'm really intrigued by is Max Muncy at 2,800, but not the Dodgers Max Muncy, the A's Max Muncy, who's facing ends. I do worry that his ownership gets boosted just because his name is Max Muncy and he's not like not
hilarious.
But I do like, I mean, he's hitting cleanup. With platoon advantage, he's cheap. It's not a great position. I don't mind him.
Okay. That brings us to shortstop.
Yes. Mookie and Witt are at the top in a tier by themselves. They're both fantastic. Tough to get to if you're doing the Ohtani thing, but if not, maybe you can get to one of them. I don't think you have to, though, because I think the mid-range of shortstop today is plenty viable. Mason Wynn and Dansby Swanson on opposite sides of the games of each other. They both look good to me. The weather in St. Louis, I believe, I remember seeing is really good.
Yeah.
And then Arcia in Colorado, if you really want to save money. 3K, if you're not playing him at second, he's shortstop eligible too. I think him and Ritter in the same lineup are both plenty viable to save some money with. As is Taylor Walls and that raise stuff that I know Tim likes too.
Okay. Tim, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, if I have the money, I would go Bobby Witt over Mookie Betts, but obviously both of them are fantastic. If I want to spend down at the position, I think Mason Wynn at 3,500 would be my next guy in. I was kind of hoping to maybe get to some JP Crawford, but that's just not going to happen today. But he was an interesting play at 3,700. Taylor Walls is part of the Tampa Bay stack. I think is fine. Even Javier Baez, I think is fine as well, just to get some leverage off of Jeffrey Springs. But really, I don't think I would go below Mason Wynn for cash games.
Yeah. Okay. You get the honor. You get to bring us into the old outfield, Tim. What do you like?
Yeah, outfield, very, very strong, like it often is. If there was one Dodger today outside of Ohtani that I would play, it would be Teoscar Hernandez at 5,900. Really, really like him today. So he's a terrifying fade. But if you're not playing Dodgers, but I think I would try to get to Teoscar in cash games. And he's my favorite Dodger outside of Ohtani, obviously. I know that Spidey and TJ both like Pete Crow Armstrong. I'm totally fine with that at 6,100. I think he makes for a really strong contrarian play off of some of the chalkier Dodger stuff. Same thing with Kyle Tucker and Suzuki. Obviously, all those guys are fantastic. Ian Happ in that kind of $4,500 range, I think is a strong play today. Josh Lowe at 4,300. I think I do like him quite a bit. He is in my single entry team. So is Jake Mangum at 4,100. I really, really high on the Rays today. So those guys are currently in my stacks. If you need somebody under 4K, Jesus Sanchez at 3,900, I think is a strong play. I'm not seeing a whole heck of a lot that I really like, under 3K. Maybe I don't know. I don't even really know. Maybe a Cam Smith as a GPP play at 3,500 batting fifth against Sanchez. Maybe a Nathan Lukes at 3K batting second. But not really anyone that's super standing out to me under 3K.
Okay, good stuff. Cardi, who are your favorites in the outfield? Obviously up top, you got Shohei, Teoscar, and Pajes. But we can't all just play Dodgers.
Yeah, again, love Ohtani if you can get there, but I think the stuff on the Colorado side is really good too. And I don't think it's going to come in it's not going to be nearly as popular as the Dodgers stuff. Obviously, Dodgers are great, but Jordan Beck's been really good this year. He's very reasonably priced for what this matchup is. Bretton Doyle has been less good this year, but still very reasonably priced. So I like both of them a lot. There's so much stuff in that Minnesota-Seattle game that normally I would like here. Larnach, Wallner, Rosarena, J-Rod, Canzoni's a way to save some money. Like there's so many pieces there that if you want to take shots on, you can. And then you can blame Roth anyway if the game either way. You can blame Roth either way. Whether the game, you fade him and the game plays, blame Roth. You play him and it doesn't, well, there you go.
That is actually what I'm here for. It's not to forecast. It's just to give you an outlet to be pissed and blame someone other than yourself for the choices that you make. So I am on board with that.
It's so much easier just to blame you, Kevin.
Yeah,
so.
it really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, like Caglione, I think is appealing in tournaments as a way to save money if you're homer hunting. I agree about the Jesus Sanchez thing. Maybe Yastrzemski, but outfield's really not great once you get past like the obvious stuff today in the rain game.
Yeah. TJ saying he told people that there were no weather problems yesterday, and then of course things happened. Thank you. Now you know how it feels. That storm, by the way, I forecasted, I don't know, a little earlier than normal, so maybe I didn't have the latest data in, but I assure you that storm was not expected when I made the forecast before I jumped on that plane. So it might have gotten me either way, TJ. Let's see what we got. We need some home run calls. We did a few thus far, but we need a few more. And we like to see what the bat says. By the way, you got Spidey Bombs on the bottom. PCA, Tuck, Barger, and Wenceal Perez. Is that Wenceal Perez?
Wenceal Perez.
5. Cardi, you got a few names for me here? A few bombs?
Go to Tim first. Let me pull up some data.
Tim, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the odds right now. I have not looked. I do want to see what Brandon Lau's odds are. I do like him quite a bit for a home run today. Just pulling that up really quick. But yeah, he's plus 400 on DraftKings. I don't mind that. I was hoping it would be a little bit higher. I do like Josh Lowe at plus 600. Same team Rays, plus 600 on DraftKings. So those two I like quite a bit. And then I'll go Kyle Tucker plus 425 also.
Okay. Cardi, you got some names already?
Yeah, for DFS, Ohtani's really good. Aside from him, though, Wilson Contreras projects well. Michael Toglia projects well. And I think Spencer Torkelson's really interesting, especially against Springs. For betting purposes, it looks like the odds have shifted, but Vlad this morning was looking really good. You can still get plus 550, which is pretty good. You can get 650 on Nick Kurtz, who I think projects well. Those would be my two favorite betting home runs today.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we have not seen any late start yet in Minnesota, and the game is 20 minutes away, right?
I haven't heard anything about it. No,
I haven't seen anything.
I mean, I know that we don't want pitchers, but I think I saw like Eric in the chat talking about, he's always screwing around, doing contrarian things, or maybe just trolling us. I don't know, but I think it's both. Yeah, right. You can't play pitchers. Like if they don't late start this, it's going to pour in the first few innings of that game. And then it's going to rain for like a few hours, and then it'll clear. And then they can play a little more, and we'll see how much they can get before the next round moves in. And that's my concern, is that next round, let's say it moves in the 6th or 7th inning and it's already officially a game. Will they complete it? Will they go 9 innings? And I don't know the answer to that. So that's where I'm at on that. We did some home run calls. Tim, you gave some home run calls?
I did, yeah. Josh Lowe, Brandon Lau, and Kyle Tucker.
Okay, let's get some QQs, some tasteful taters, if you will. It's so good. Oh, man. Okay, we have lock, as I mentioned, in about 20 minutes, and we'll hang out. We'll take some questions. When the questions stop, we'll leave. God, just like, I thought having a little kid to cuddle was cool, but having a cat just seems a lot easier.
I'm pretty sure Roth just said on the air that he prefers his cat to his children. Just if we can mark that one down for the record books.
I just said it seems like a good decision currently. That's all. Let's see what we've got. Jumping into the old YouTube. That's where I'm taking the questions from. Aranda or Diaz at first in a Tampa Bay stack, Tides?
I'm going Aranda, but they're both really, really close. I don't mind either.
Oh, I see. You actually answered. You're doing double duty, my man. Let's see. Which is the best low/low at the util in a FanDuel single entry? Cardi, is it low, low, or low? Maybe there's even more.
It's Brandon today.
It's
low.
Okay, and he is the best play?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Alexander says, Cardi, about Jahmai Jones?
I mean, I mentioned liking some Detroit stuff against Springs for leverage. I think he's a pinch hit guy. Let me look real quick. 60% pinch hit risk. He's hitting second. So like you can do it in tournaments and hope he doesn't get pinch hit for, because he certainly has some power, but be aware, like he could legitimately get 2 at-bats.
Okay.
Oh, Derek, I've seen this question a couple times in chat. Can you go over any kind of Dodger pinch hit risk today?
I can do that real quick. I don't think there's going to be a lot.
I don't think so either, but I was just curious.
Yeah, so let's see. Dodgers pinch hit percentages. The highest is Miguel Rojas at 31%, who I doubt a lot of people are playing. Kike at 17%, and then that's it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Your favorite pitchers on DK single entry, Tim? You are playing DK single entry, if I know you, and that means I need to figure out what you're doing. That's what Alan wants to know.
Yeah, I'm actually going. So my top 4 would be Springs, Brown, Kershaw. I'm currently going Springs and Kershaw on my single entry team, but I wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to go Hunter Brown and somebody else. And then I think number 4 would be it's really bad.
I like it. What is it? Say it.
I think it's Junk.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's
TJ's on board.
Like it's pretty ugly. I mean, I wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to go Sanchez or Birdsong even. But yeah, I'm going Kershaw and Springs.
Okay. Let's see. Cardi, how are we feeling about a Jacob Wilson and Brent Rooker to record a hit today? I'm sure like the odds are what it actually matters, and I don't know them.
Extremely doubtful that Jacob Wilson odds are going to be anything other than terrible, but we can take a quick look. Jacob Wilson to record a hit. Yeah, there's 0. You can't even get an 0.5 line. I see one book has an 0.5 line, and you have to pay -375 that he gets a hit. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Everywhere else is 1.5 lines at plus money, and they're not really showing much value either.
Yeah. Okay. Well answered, man. Duncan with maybe my favorite comment of the day. He says, hey, since TJ's got the Spidey bombs, we need Tim to give up Tasteful Taters and move to Roscoe's Rockets.
I'm totally down with that.
It's pretty good. We can have a little graphic of like your adorable cat riding a rocket. You know, it's like a baseball somewhere in there. The moon is a baseball. Yeah, we can workshop this. All right, let's get a Roscoe's Rocket. I want one more home run from Roscoe, Tim.
One more home run.
Because if we start off with a Roscoe's Rocket and we go 1 for 1, then we got to start doing it every day.
Oh, there he is still. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Roscoe knows what's up.
Man, I wish we could get some Mariners today.
You can call a Mariner for a Roscoe's Rocket.
I know. I'm definitely not gonna put real American dollars on Cal Raleigh plus 180, even though that's probably been super profitable this year. I just can't click that. I'm gonna go Gleyber Torres plus 500. That'll be my official Roscoe Rocket of the day.
Okay, very good. Roscoe Rocket, Gleyber Torres, lock the rocket. Just seeing this tweet here, no announcement yet, but the Twins game will start in a delay with rain in the forecast. The tarp is still on the field and there's no pitchers warming up. So my thought is that the reason they haven't announced a delay is because they're trying to figure out if they're going to play, right? Otherwise they would just say, hey, it's a late start. So just a note, if you've got, some guys in there, I still like hold my forecast as is. I do expect that they'll probably figure out a way to make it happen, simply because it's such a pain in the ass to make it happen on another day, because they don't play each other. But it's not safe. I don't, it's like I've been mentioning, it's the one game that I do not like. Let's see, Cardi, ends or Herbie Hancock if the weather doesn't matter on DK.
I think I take the shot on ends.
Okay, nice. I'm stacking the Cubs. Chris says, Cardi, should I go with PCA or Teoscar in a FanDuel GPP? I mean, I don't know anything, but if you're stacking the Cubs, you got to play PCA, right? Yeah, you gotta. No. Let's see. Teoscar or Will Smith, Jim asks. Tim, raw DK points, Teoscar or Will Smith?
I'd rather go Teoscar.
Okay. I like this question from Joseph. Pitching or hitting? Because you can't have both. I think he's basically saying Hunter Brown or Dodgers. Which do you prioritize? And Tim, you prioritize, I think, Dodgers over?
I guess in theory, but in single entry, I'm actually doing neither of those. I'm not going Hunter Brown or Dodgers. So I don't think Hunter Brown is absolutely necessary and in single entry today. So he's definitely necessary in cash games, but he's not necessary in single entry.
Okay. Didn't expect that. All right. Cody says India or Miguel Rojas. Cardi, India or Rojas?
India for me, for sure. Especially I mentioned the Miguel Rojas pinch hit risk, so I'll take India.
Okay. Rocket Sauce says, how high is Nathan Luke's pinch hit risk, Cardi? Let's pull up the old bat. It does the calculations. It knows
24%, which is there. It's not massive, but it's definitely substantial.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, Tim, Suzuki or Betts if you had to choose one on FanDuel?
I mean, I'd really like to know the rest of that team, but I mean, I guess it's Betts straight up.
Okay. Kershaw or Springs straight up. Tim, you're kind of pro Kershaw in this.
Well, right? I'm pro Kershaw compared to the market. I still would take Springs straight up over Kershaw, but those are actually my two pitchers in single entry right now are Springs and Kershaw.
I'm glad you cleared that up. Thank you. Ian says, is Matt Tice a good catcher in a FanDuel single entry? Cardi, playing any Tice?
Good is a word. Maybe not a word I would use to describe him, but it's a word.
Yeah, it's doable.
Catcher is not mandatory on FanDuel either. So yeah, I think I understand that he's min priced, but I don't think that you really have to do that.
No, because you don't have to play a catcher. A lot of times you don't have to play anybody that cheap at any position. I don't know. Probably not for me.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Carter, your favorite SP2 in a DKGPP. So I assume this is pretending that Hunter Brown is one. Who is your favorite SP2 in a GPP?
It's a tough call. It's probably Simeon Woods Richardson, honestly.
Okay. All right. We have answered most of the questions. We got a couple more coming in, but we're going to bounce out of here pretty soon. Pre-lock. Eric says, make sure you hit us with the thumbs up, by the way. Spidey bombs, Cardi bombs, Roscoe rockets, weather reports. You get it all. And all that we're asking for is that you click that thumbs up for us. Thoughts on a Jays stack? Tim, Cardi, any interest from either of you in a Jays stack?
I like them as one-offs or like kind of like two-man stacks. I'm not in love with a full stack of Jays.
Cardi?
Yeah. I think it's fine. The prices on them are good enough. Probably prefer more as a mini, but I think you can full stack them. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Very good. Guys, we have answered all of the questions here. Woods Richardson is in the Minnesota game, Cardi.
Yeah, I know he is, but are they really not going to delay this thing? Like they're going.
No. They announced a late start.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then fine. In a GPP, go for it.
Yeah. So
even if they only complete half the game, like that, you could get extra points for that.
Right.
It's all about your own risk tolerance with that decision.
Yeah, it really is. But
if they hadn't announced,
it all comes down to.
Yeah. If they were warming up right now, I'd be like, you absolutely do not play a pitcher in that game. But they're not warming up. The tarp's on. They're going to announce either a late start or possibly a postponed game. I think probably they'll announce a late start. Alex says late start means it plays. I think a late start means they will try to
play it. Yeah,
they're going to try to play and will be successful for part of it at least. I just don't know how much. Okay, hey, we answered all the questions. We gave them some hitters, some pitchers, some stacks, some bombs, and some weather. And I think that is what we came here to do. So we're going to clear on out for Tasteful Tides, for Cardi, for Roscoe, and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have